Hi there, this is Magenta Pixie, and today I would like to talk to you about the novel that I am currently writing, which is entitled The Bifurcated Village. I have done videos on this before, and if you will remember, the protagonist is called Gloria Love, and there are many different characters in this novel. So I did post a comment up on my social media about the novel, about one of the storylines that's occurring. So I'm going to read that to you now. Gloria Love just watched the play in her village performed by the Petrox Players, directed by Peter Stewpot. The play is about a golden snake who infects everyone in the fictional world with his venom. Gloria says as she watched the play, she clearly saw the encryption of truth pieced together before her, alight with the alignment and resonance of that which is correct. Gloria would therefore say that the truth had been laid bare before her as she watched the thespians perform to their audience. So in answer to your question, which was about this golden serpent, in answer to your question, do the Petrox Players perform that which is true? The answer to that is yes. Synchronicities shown to the lead performer also shows alignment with truth. So the Petrox Players are these group of actors that perform in the village, and the director, and that's the important thing, Petrox Players is all just part of fiction. The director is Peter Stewpot. He directs this particular production, and they're talking about this golden snake who infects everyone in the village with venom. So Gloria watched the play, and as Gloria was watching the play, she sees encryptions of truth when truth is presented. It's like a concept piecing together, kind of like a puzzle or a Rubik's Cube that's out of alignment before truth is presented, and then or rather waiting to slot into place, and then once truth is presented, the Rubik's Cube all slots into place like a kind of a giant astral puzzle that all slots into place. And that's when Gloria knows that she's hearing truth. I will go back to the beginning of 2020 when I did make a video about what I first saw and what the information was from the Nine regarding what was occurring in 2020. And I do remember being shown what I perceived as a hybrid snake. It looks like a long sort of snake-looking creature. It had whiskers, so its face was cat-like, but its body was like a snake. It didn't have legs that I could perceive, like a lizard or anything. I presumed it was a hybrid kind of animal that had been created through experimentation. And it was pink, almost as if it had human skin. And at the time, I did not know if that snake was metaphor or if it was literal. I felt it was somehow both, and I couldn't really understand how. And then the Nine showed me an image where that snake bit a human being and passed the kukiruru, which is this illness that's been sort of flying around the village since the beginning of 2020. This kukiruru then started to infect people all over the village. The animal that this came from wasn't a bat, it was some kind of hybridized snake. I mean, I'm really sorry to say that. It's horrible. Now, I am aware that potentially, and I'm going to give you this information, potentially this is metaphor. And the Nine are trying to show me the hybridized snake is, in fact, the service to self structure itself being presented to me as a hybridized snake because of the reptilian kind of, the reptilian DNA within the non-physical beings that are influencing these physical individuals. But
I haven't had confirmation from the 9 that this is a full metaphor. I'm actually been showing a literal animal, and it looks like a snake. I've never seen anything like it. It looks like a snake, but it's got other DNA in it, and it's got an intelligence that's like more than a snake. I just don't know how to explain this creature, but this creature somehow bit something or someone that I think was human. As I said, this could be completely metaphor, but the 9 have not confirmed that to me. They have not. They've just shown me the images, and they're telling me the reason why they have shown me the images is because it isn't for me to interpret it. It's for you to interpret it. I'm giving you the images of this hybridized snake. It's actually a sort of weird pink color, so it actually looks like a snake with human skin and weird little whiskers, like a cat, with funny looking eyes. I'm so sorry. It sounds dreadful. Not very nice to look at, but the imagery, whether it's metaphor or real, is to be given to you because someone who hears this information might know what it means.
Well, when I listened to when Gloria Love watched the play and listened to the information in this play, directed by Peter Stewpot, everything was falling into place, because the original snake that I saw, if it's metaphor and literal, then it would be metaphor for something that's created, something that was created that's man-made, but using an actual organic animal, and that animal bit the human. Well, that doesn't mean that literally a snake was set free from a lab and it bit a human, but it could be that the venom is what was utilized in some form. Now, a lot of people have been asking me about the water, and if this substance, so we have a golden serpent that has venom. Let's say that golden serpent's venom is custard. And so would there be custard in the water in the village, in the pond, in the rivers, in the sewerage systems, and in the seas? Is there custard in there? That isn't what I picked up from this performance by Peter Stewpot. I didn't pick up that there was custard in the water. What I thought that was being sort of shown was that once the human had custard in their system, then it was going into the sewerage system somehow, and so tests could be done. I mean, perhaps I picked that up wrong. Maybe they are saying that there's custard in the water in the village. I'm not seeing that, but what I do see is other toxins, and that other toxins have been in the water for a long, long time. So it's not a good idea to drink water that's coming out of the tap system. Regardless of where you live in the village, I think it's always better to source your water from a more pure and clean source. But I don't feel that there is custard in the water. Now, that's just what I feel, and I'm not being told that there is by the 9. However, even if there was, what the 9 have told me is that the digestive system not neutralizes the custard, but it doesn't affect the body in the same way as if the custard was put straight into your bloodstream by some kind of sharp object. Okay, so I have another question about the same part of the story. Magenta, the recent conjecture on custard in the water, and many, including me, was thinking that the meaning of the play, and the play was called The Water Watch, the meaning of the phrase "the water watch" originally came from 17 birds. There were 17 birds flying in the village sky, and the original phrase "the water watch" came from those 17 birds. So this person is asking, it hit them earlier that this phrase is actually what you, Gloria Love, has been saying all along, as in the Water Watch, is about being a neutral observer, as being an observer in quantum physics changes the outcome, and the water is related to land, air, water, as in the elementals, which is also common law and is all about sovereignty. So what this person is asking is, does Gloria Love think that the 17 birds flying in the sky, when they said the phrase, the Water Watch, they were actually using the water as metaphor, referring to land, air, water, as in common law. So not the maritime law, the law of the sea, but instead the law of the land, because that's all about reclaiming sovereignty. So is that what the 17 birds meant? So my reply to this was, what you say makes perfect sense. I do not know for sure what the 17 birds meant when they spoke about the custard. But let me rephrase that. I do not know for sure what 17 meant, but I don't think it's about the custard in the water. However, I resonated very much with the play that was performed by this group of players, and it doesn't really matter what they're called, and was directed by Peter Stewpot. Yes, he was the director. So I very much resonated with the story being shown. The 9 still tell me that kooky is transmitted via energetic electric signals from infected kooky and from juice. So individuals who are infected with kooky, individuals who have been drinking juice. But the 9 originally showed me this snake biting a human. Now I perceived that to be part of this original transmission of kooky. But I also asked if it was a metaphor. And now I'm feeling that this was a metaphor for some kind of created custard, as per the information in the documentary. So for me, the Water Watch would be code for neutral observer, absolutely. You could say it's neutral observer within quantum physics and looking at maritime law and common law and sovereignty. That would be a perfect translation. But is that what the 17 birds meant? And I don't know if we're supposed to know what the code from the 17 birds is, because it could be multiple things. And obviously, because the 17 birds were owned by people in a military capacity, and the 17 birds were flying as part of a military operation, then they had to use metaphor and story and poetry and all that sort of thing and code in order to present. So it's not going to be easy for us to decode, and I think we aren't necessarily supposed to. What I mean is, it's part of our journey to have these mysteries presented to us and for us to learn about what they might be and to trigger our critical thinking, basically. That's what the aim from a spiritual level of the 17 birds would be, is to trigger our critical thinking, but also to pass messages. So the Water Watch could be about custard. It could be about sovereignty. I don't know, I'm not given the answer. So I know what the village story is, and Gloria Love and all the things that are going on there, because that's coming from my own creativity, although I'm not in the same position as the operation of the 17 birds, but even so, it's about preserving one's text in order to be able to deliver information. It's about preserving the book, so the book doesn't get taken down off the library shelf. That's the situation with me. Obviously, it was far more important that the 17 birds do a similar thing. Now, what I do very much pick up, though, is that we will all eventually know. So the Water Watch phrase, which is the title of this play, directed by Peter Stewpot, I feel we will all eventually know what the Water Watch means. I don't think it's about custard at this point. It could be about sovereignty, but I'm not sure either. There is a meaning, and I think we will all find out, but I don't know what the Water Watch means at this point. If anything comes to me, I will do a follow-up to this video. So that's everything at the moment. I've had a lot of questions about the custard, and my advice is to not get your water from the tap, but to source it elsewhere, and to be aware of toxins in general, and don't be afraid and panic thinking that there's custard in the water in the village, because I don't necessarily feel that there is, but I'm not 100% sure on this, as so much information comes to me in the form of metaphor, and I'm not always given direct information. I honestly think that if the water had something like custard in there that could actually affect us, then I think the 9 would have told me a long time ago, and the only information I've had is that there's toxins there regardless. However, I would keep an eye on this story, because there is a lot of truth there, and I know that there is truth there about the custard. The custard's true. The issue is it actually in the rivers and the lakes and the streams in the village? That's the issue, and I'm not sure about that. But the custard itself has been utilised in some way. It's too much of a synchronicity for me to have seen the snake back in 2020 and seeing it biting a human and being told it's both metaphor and literal. And I was trying to work it out. If you go back to 2020 and see the first video that I did on this subject, then you'll hear me talking about this. So it's definitely food for thought, custard for thought. So thanks for listening. I will be back with more videos. See you soon. Bye.